Respected elders, educationists, dear teachers, and dear students, welcome. In this class, we are going to see how the non-defining relative classes are used for things and animals. Come, let us see. English grammar, relative classes. It is English grammar, relative classes. Part 5, like 299, dated 9/9/2024. English grammar relative classes. Or part 5. Non-defining relative classes for things. That means things means things and animals. Subject. In non-defining relative classes for things and animals, the subject used is which. That is not used here. Here we should use as subject only which on no account should we use that. No other relative pronoun is possible. That is, except which no other relative pronoun is possible here. And also here, as we used for persons, here also for things and animals also, we are using the commas before and after the not defining relative classes. No other relative pronoun is usable. Note the commas. The block which cost rupees 10 crore to be built has been empty for years. It is uh, rupees, rupees 10 crores were spent for fitting this, for building this block. But this block has been empty for years. Here, comma, comma. This which cost rupees 10 crore to be built is the non-defining relative class. Another example, the 8:30 train, which is usually very punctual, was late today. That is, this 8:30 train is always punctual, but unexpectedly it was late today. Yeah, which refers the subject, the block, which which means the block. Here, which means the 8:30 train. So here, which has been employed as the subject. Many students, this is only formal English, but we could express the same idea without the non-defining relative classes. See the examples here. How these two sentences can be expressed without that is not defining relative, without a relative class. You see, in a speech, we would be more likely to say the block cost rupees 10 crore to be built has been empty for years. There is no relative class and there is no relative pronoun. There is no not defining relative class. And also there is no relative pronoun which. This is without a relative class, relative pronoun. And also the 8:30 train is usually punctual, but it was late today. This sentence, the idea of this sentence, first sentence, has been expressed in one sentence, but without the not defining relative class, and also without the not defining pronoun which. In the second example, The second example has been split into two simple sentences. Here also there is no non-defining relative class. The 8:30 train is usually punctual. That is, which is usually very punctual, has been reduced to usually punctual. That's all. Then another part has been expressed in another simple sentence. But it was late today. The 8:30 train is is usually punctual. But it was late today. It was late today. So you can express in this way also. But it is mostly it is a formal English. And also the same idea of these sentences could be expressed in this ways also. So you should learn it. This is without a relative pronoun. The first example, the second example, without a relative class. In both, there is no relative classes. An object. So, first we will see in not even in relative classes, the subject used is only which. No other relative pronoun could be used here. And regarding object also, which is used as the object. No other relative pronoun can be used instead of which. That is not used here, as we have seen in in the subject. And the which used here can never be omitted. You cannot omit it. That is, when in non-defining relative classes, when which is used, this which cannot be omitted. That is, without which non-defining relative classes cannot be formed. Examples. Ronnie gave me this jumper, which she got knitted cursor. This is written in English. Ronnie gave me this jumper, comma, which she got knitted cursor. Here, which she got knitted cursor is the non-defining relative class. This, but in spoken English, that is in informal English, we could express the idea of the sentence in this way also. That is, Ronnie gave me this jumper. She had 90 deed cursor. That is the idea expressed in a complex sentence. So that is, I've already told you, that is all relative clauses are a complex sentence. Relative clause, whether defining or undefining, whatever it be, or connected relative clause, whatever it is, they are simply a complex sentence. So, this complex sentence, the idea of this complex sentence has been expressed in two simple sentences. Ronnie gave me this jumper. Ronnie gave me this jumper. Then this not defining relative classes has been expressed by another simple sentence. She had 90 acres. A simple sentence, which the not defining relative class has been reduced to a simple sentence. Okay. Ronnie gave me this jumper, which she got 90 cursor. Not defining relative class. This is a complex sentence. Then Ronnie gave me this jumper. She had 90 cursor. So you can express the one idea in two different ways. Both are grammatically correct. Then using prepositions. I mean using prepositions. The object which how how we should use. preposition with the object which. The preposition is normally placed before which. In formal English, the prepositions are normally placed before which, as we have seen in the case of relative or defining or non-defining relative classes. We've already seen the prepositions in formal English are placed before the relative pronoun, either who or relative pronoun, either who, I mean, either either who or whom or which. Normally, the prepositions are placed before the relative pronoun, who, whom, or which. Whether it is a defining relative class, no defining relative class, whatever it is. In formal English, the prepositions are placed before the relative pronouns. Like that, here also, the preposition is normally placed before which. His house, for which he paid rupees 10 lakhs, is now worth rupees 50 lakh. Formal English. The house for which he paid rupees 10 lakh is now worth rupees 50 lakh. See, many students, you see, here, this is the for which he paid rupees 10 lakhs. This is the non-defining relative class. Here, which is the object, and where is the preposition. Here is the formal English. Who can express the same idea as like this? Which he paid rupees 10 lakh for. 10 lakhs for. For which can also be expressed as which he paid rupees 10 lakhs for. So the preposition can either be placed before the object or after that, in the end of the class. You can use either way, but this is formal, it is informal. But both this, the expression, the formation of both these sentences are grammatically correct. So prepositions who can place either before the relative pronoun, the end of the relative class, whether it is a defining or non-defining relative class, or whether it is for persons or things, whatever it is. Then, which with phrasal verbs? That is, what is a phrasal verb? What is a phrasal verb? A phrasal verb is one in which a preposition or an adverb or both are used with the verb. When a preposition or adverb or both used after a verb, it is called phrasal verb. A combination such as look after, look forward to, looked up with should be treated as one unit. That is, my dear students, this entire group as one verb. Look is a, is a separate verb. It's a transitive verb. Look, but look at it is a phrasal. Look is a verb, single verb. Look up is a phrasal verb. So here, I like that you looked after two put up with. Please, here, if you take after, remove after, then it will be giving a different meaning. Like that, look forward to cannot be separated. These three words should be taken as a single unit. If you divide them, then it would be giving some other meaning. So say prepositions or adverb should not be separated from the verb. Prepositions or adverbs used in phrasal verbs should not be separated. Example, with car, which I have looked after for 10 years, is still working perfectly. Many students, the idea is, this is my car. I have been using this car and maintaining it correctly for 10 years. Now it is functioning perfectly. This is the idea. I have been using this car for 10 years. I am looking after it now and then. Now it is functioning correctly. This idea is expressed using a not defining relative class. This car, which I have looked after for 10 years, is still working perfectly. That's all. Here, which is the relative pronoun used as subject. I mean, used as the subject. Here, looked after is the phrasal verb. Looked after is the phrasal verb. Hmm. Here, here, inefficiency, which we have put up with for too long, is is beginning to annoy our customers. Here, inefficiency, which we have put up with for too long, is now beginning to annoy our customers. My dear servant, my dear servant, you are inefficient. We have been tolerating your inefficiency for long, but now your inefficiency is beginning to annoy our customers. This idea is expressed in one sentence using a not defining relative class. You see that your inefficiency, which we have put up with, put up with. That is the idea. We got put up with means we're tolerating. Put up with, tolerating. Put up with means tolerating. Which we have which you have put up with for too long is beginning to annoy customers. Okay. Then fourth items. I mean the fourth items under the non-different relative plus for things and other non-living. I mean for things and other living things other than human beings. Precisely, whose or are these? My dear students, when the no and the possessive used for things, the other living beings other than human beings is whose. That is, whose is the possessive used for both persons and things, whether it is relative class or I mean defining relative class or not defining relative class, that doesn't matter. The object used in a relative class is whose or things of which is occasionally used. I mean is very rarely used. Whose is used both for animals and things, of which is of which is possible for things. That is unusual except in very formal English. Only very formal English of which is used. But in living, but in normal English, in normal speech and an informal English, the possessive used in non-relative classes also is whose, his house, whose windows were all broken, was a depressing sight. His house whose windows were all broken was a depressing sight. It is his house. I mean, his, the windows in the windows of his house were broken. All the windows of his house were broken, and the appearance of his house was very depressing. This idea is expressed in a simple in a sentence using a non-defining relative class. His house, whose windows were all broken, whose windows were all broken, was a depressing sight. It was very depressing to see that the car, whose handbrake wasn't very reliable, be, began to slide backwards. That is, the handbrake of the car was not a reliable one. So it suddenly began to slide backward. This idea has been expressed in this non-defining relative class. The car, comma, whose handbrake wasn't very reliable, comma, begin to slide backwards. That idea has been expressed in a whole complex sentence. I mean, complex sentence, that's all. My dear students, thus in this class, in the fifth class, we have seen, in the fifth class of the relative classes, we have seen how a non-defining relative class is used for things and animals. That is, the subject used as a non-defining relative class for things and animals is which. Here, that cannot be used. Likewise, the non and the relative pronoun used in uh, the non, I mean, non, um, the relative pronoun used as subjects in non-defining relative classes is which, and the relative pronoun used as subject in non-defining relative class is also which. Here also that no the relative pronouns other than which can be used either for either as subject or as object cannot be used. And then and the possessor used in non-defining relative class for things is also whose, both for human beings as well as things and animals. The possessive used not only in relative classes but everywhere in complex sentences also. The relative, I mean, the possessive relative pronoun used for human beings and things is whose. Don't forget it. But okay, so that is formally, informal English of which can be used. But that is very rare. Very formal English of which is used. In all the places, whose is used as the possessive of a relative class. As the whose the relative pronoun whose is used as the possessive of any relative class. So, my dear students, thus we have seen it is a very small class, fifth class. That is how a non-defining relative class is used for things and animals. Here the subject is we. No other relative pronoun other than which can be used here. Similarly, the object also is which. No other relative pronouns, that is, whom, whose, or that cannot be used. And the possessor used here also is whose, of which is rare. That is formal. And also, already as we've already seen, the prepositions is normally placed before which, as in other relative classes. but it is formal. The same pronoun or the prepositions can also be placed at the end of the class, as we have seen in the previous classes. That is, the prepositions used in a relative class can either be placed before the relative class, that is, before which, that, or at the end of the relative class. But using before the placing the preposition before the relative class is formal. But placing it at the end of the relative class is spoken. It is informal. Anyhow, my dear students, in this class we have seen the important use of, in not defining relative class. So far we have seen, right? Yet we have seen some three or more, five more classes regarding the relative classes we are going to see. My dear students, yes, again and again, I have to tell you, without relative classes, other particularly without defining relative classes, we cannot express an idea or content correctly, both in written and spoken English. So don't forget the defining related classes that we've already seen in class 2 and 3. In class 1, 2, and 3, we have seen. It's okay. Yet we are going to see in the following four classes. We are going to see how the relative pronouns and how the relative classes and the relative pronouns are used. And also, finally, we are going to see the main differences between the defining and not defining relative classes. See, in the defining relative classes, we cannot change any part of the relative class, the defining relative class. In defining relative classes, commas are not used. But in not defining relative classes, commas are used. It is because the not defining classes, if you want, we can use. If you don't want, we can omit it. You can express the same idea. You can express the idea using, not defining relative classes can be expressed by some other means. So, the not defining relative classes is only optional. But defining relative classes is not optional. That is must. So we should bear it in mind. So, okay, respected elders, educationists, teachers, and students, I thank all of you